Okay, so what do I have for you today? Well, I had to perform another mod to this plane. I know, I can't help myself. But those skinny little wheels just weren't working out there where I have to take off and land and that rough stuff. If you're fortunate enough to have a nice grassy area to land in, you wouldn't even need the landing gear on it because it is really easy to hand launch this 3D plane. But I put some larger wheels. They're about twice as wide as the wheels that came with it. I would have put even larger wheels on it had I had some in inventory, but I did not. I did have these wheels. I did have some spare 2mm carbon rod, which I used for the axles because the stock ones were just too short for these wheels. And I had some 2mm diameter wheel stops. So that worked out great. And then I fabricated some little clips. Since these wheels are larger and they're a little bit heavier, I think they'll probably put a little more stress on the landing gear, and especially on these little plastic keepers. And on the stock setup, the axle's just glued in there. It's just glued into a slot in the plastic, and I didn't think that was a good idea to put these big wheels on with just that. So I'll put a couple of pictures up on the screen to show you what I mean. It's going to be hard to see it on camera. But I took two pieces of 2.5mm thick plywood and 13mm wide by 8mm high, I believe they were, and I glued those two pieces together with super glue, and then I cut a 3mm wide by 5mm deep channel in the center of those and used that like a saddle mount, a saddle clip that went over the bottom of this little plastic retainer for the axle, and also goes over top of the axle. So I think after being out there today in some significant wind and landing this thing out there in that rough terrain, I was not kind on my modification that I made on the landing gear, and they survived. So I think after a couple of more flight sessions, if I don't have any problems with that setup, I think it should work out pretty well. I still haven't posted the template for these reinforcement pieces of plywood that I fabricated for the crossing of the struts for the landing gear. I'll try to get both of those posted at the same time in case you decide to do the same thing, put bigger wheels on it. You might want to put those retaining clips on it too. And so now I filmed one of the flights when I was out there today, flying in some significant wind and testing the landing gear out, the landing gear modification. So I thought I would go ahead and post that. So here we go.
All right, another flight on the Yak54 3D plane. My wind meter says we have wind of 5 to 8 on the ground. Seems to be heavier in the air from time to time. Let's get it in the air. Now I'm throttling up on this about 55% and giving it a good chuck, and that seems to work pretty well. Yeah. I think we definitely have more wind up there. Yep, definitely. I couldn't even pull a loop there. I did increase my elevator slightly and my expo. My expo is at 60% now, and I increased the elevator a bit because of the wind. I've been practicing these adverse yaw turns, especially in the wind. I don't like to get the tilt of the wings too dramatically in the wind. Well, it really seems like I have more wind now than I had the other day. And of course you want to throttle up when you do those adverse yaw turns. I'm still no good at hovering, especially in the wind. And we got a vehicle coming through. I think it was the same one that went through about 2 minutes ago. Oh, different one. Boy, that is going to be tougher than I thought it was going to be. It's kind of like balancing on a bowling ball for me. Oh, and batteries. I have used everything in this plane from a 550 to a 1000 milliamp, and it's carried it just fine, no problem whatsoever. So you can use a wide variety of batteries in this plane. It's easier to keep it on its tail when you're accelerating up. When you're not accelerating, you're trying to just hover it in place, it's pretty hard. And my beefier landing gear modification so far has worked out well. I'm going to see if I can make it through an entire flight session with the wheels on it. There's my timer. Whew. Man, bugs out here are bad. Oh, that was a close one. I almost hit that hard. But yeah, those skinny little wheels just weren't working out here, so I put some bigger, beefier wheels on it, and so far it's worked out well. And those clips have held on pretty well too. So no problem so far. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.